How we doing, everybody? My name is Brock Zevan. I am calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm excited to be able to share with you some of our tidbits, what we've learned the last 15 to 20 years in our real estate career. But without diving into the presentation too quickly, let me bring on my co-host, the partner, Ms. Zena. How we doing, Zena?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Brock. I am Zena Krogadal, and I'm here in sunny Arizona. Very excited to share with you our tips and tricks of selling your home without an agent. So without further ado, Brock, let's get started. Let's let the fun begin. All right, go ahead.
So guys, we know that selling your home is one of the biggest things that you're going to do. Biggest decisions. It's your greatest asset that you have. And being able to do it on your own helps you save some money. But there's a lot of things that we realized during our journey of selling homes is what we want to share with you today. So let's get into it with the next slide that we got. So one of the things that we talk about here is, are you really testing the market or selling the market? Zena, many times we see for sale by owners, they're just throwing it at the wall, sticking at it before they really want to see what the market's indicating. And I'm sure you see that in Arizona as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So yes, ask that question. What are you doing? Are you pricing it to test, or are you pricing it to sell? And with that, Brock, what determines your sale is absolutely your location, your condition, and your price, right? So how about we kind of get into this on what is going to determine the sale of their home. So go ahead, Brock, tell us how we are going to determine the value.
So a lot of times when we're talking to for sale by owners, commission's obviously a big thing. Where you've looked at your property, you went to a neighbor, you really want to make sure that you zoned in, because the market has been changing drastically with COVID and then the post-pandemic, and then what we got with the interest rates and everything else. We see a lot of different things out there. So when you are looking at the price of your home, you need to look in with the last 30 days. Don't be looking at what your neighbor sold a house 6 months ago. Okay, the numbers have changed quite a bit. Appreciation has been really increasing. And so when you're comparing, you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. This is actually one of my favorite slides right here.
Yeah, apples to apples is absolutely true, Brock, because many times when people are searching for comparatives, they look down the street and they're looking at a house. Let's say you have a 1,500 square foot house. Well, you can't compare it to a 800 square foot house or even a 3,000 square foot home, right? Because the price per square foot and it's a different house, you cannot compare that. Or sometimes they're comparing it 2 or 3 miles down the way, same zip code, but it might be a little ways away. So that's tricky too, because you got to get the same location as well. And there's just a lot to absolutely take a look at in finding those comparisons, so that you know this is what my home is valued at.
And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a trick here, okay? Because let's just call it how it is. You're going to have many people calling you, many real estate agents calling you once you put your house on the market. And one of the things I would ask them, here's a script for you all. Ask them they can send you a BPO, a broker price opinion. Tell them, like, yeah, send me something. Ask them to send you whatever it is, so you could take a look at the numbers to make sure your numbers what they see in the market. It doesn't mean you're going to list with them. You want to be able to get the information, and it's called a BPO, a broker price opinion, and collect them all.
Great advice. Great advice. So once you get those comparisons, Brock, it is absolutely important to get ready, right? We got to get ready. So what does that include, Brock?
So guys, you could take a look at your property. The curb appeal is a very important ingredient. One of the things that I've studied is Disney, and Disney does a phenomenal job of how they present things before you get into the gate. Okay. They did a whole study on this before you get into their attractions, what it looks like, what it's all about, the cleanliness, all the music, the aura, everything that you feel. It is the same thing on here. And so you really want to make sure your house is looking really good the first minute, the 30 seconds in their driveway and the 30 seconds they walk in.
Oh, yes. 30 seconds. It's not very long for them to take a look and see if they even want to go inside. And once they are inside, it is absolutely important to make sure you have your home staged in a manner that is also appealing, right, Brock? Can you tell us, Brock, how important is staging, and does that help to determine the actual sales price of the home.
So I'm gonna give you guys a little insight, some more tips for you. Okay. If you have a vacant property, one of the things that we're seeing more and more of is go to virtual staging. Get your property virtually staged. Also, I get asked the question, should I virtually stage it or should I actually stage it? It really just, we're trying to save you money. Okay. Does staging help? Yes. If you don't stage it, does it hurt you? No, as long as it looks good. You all know what your house is supposed to look like. Declutter it, it's supposed to look clean, but sometimes you might want to stage it. Sometimes you might want it less is best. And if you got nothing, maybe take a look at the virtual staging. There's a lot of artificial intelligence out there. Just something that I would take a look at.
Very, very good. And when you're done staging, Brock, people sometimes think they can just take pictures with their cell phones. And granted, our cell phones are incredible because we have cameras, and the cameras are very sophisticated in some of these cell phones. However, the angle, the professional photos, the quality that is given cannot beat hiring a professional to do your photos, because we live in a world right now where everything is seen prior to actually stepping inside the home. Everything has become virtual. People like to scroll through the pictures, and from the pictures, they're going to determine if they're really going to even schedule an appointment to come see your home. So absolutely recommend hiring a professional photographer to do your photos, because even when you look at these pictures, these were done with just cell phone cameras. And so you ask yourself, would you be drawn to make an appointment to come see your house if it looked like this in the photos?
Yeah, professional pictures are so very important. If you're like kind of pinched for pennies, okay, let's just be honest. This is what we're here for, is to help you. If you are, okay, even when I take pictures with my cell phone, okay, I still have to spend time editing them. I edit my pictures. If I'm in a position, especially in the beginning when I was doing real estate and I couldn't afford a photographer, okay, you can take pictures, but you're going to spend a lot of time editing. Here's another key thing. Please don't take your pictures in this position. You got to turn it to landscape so you can get the larger view. So if you do need to go in that position, just make sure you're taking it sideways, not the long way.
That's great. That is a great tip. Brock, something else that many people ask, once they go through this process, how long does it actually take to prepare your home in getting it ready to sell?
Yeah, Zena, people can't stand us because when we tell them that it's going to take several weekends to get your house ready, and if you take pictures of your property, whether personally or with a photographer, it takes like 10 minutes to take pictures of your entire place, but like 10, 20, 30 hours to clean it, do all the small details, get behind the cabinets, clean out the refrigerator, get all this stuff off the refrigerator, clean out the bathroom. Like all this stuff takes hours and hours. And as you can see here, 80 to 120 hours. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and we haven't even gone outside, Zena.
That is so very true, Brock. There's a lot that goes on in getting your house ready to sell, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? You never get a second chance. So we want to make sure that when you hit the market, your house is at its tip-top shape and ready to present. So the other question is, how many showings does it take the average owner? Brock, tell us what your experience has been.
So a lot of times anymore, because there's a lack of inventory out there, sometimes people are like, we don't want to, we look at it, but here's the thing, those 8 to 30 showings, they could be people that have been there 2, 3 times, because they also, society knows statistically, they make up our personalities. Like they don't like to make instantaneous decisions. So they're like, wait, well, we need to go back again. So sometimes you're showing people 2 or 3 times a house because there's not other homes out there. But it's just annoying. It's like, why do you have to see it again, for crying out loud? But they do. They want to look at it several times before they make these type of decisions.
Well, and after all, it is a big decision. And
Mhm.
we're talking about a big investment. And so, it is understandable that many times they want to see it a couple of times before they make that decision. And yes, it can take 8 to 30 showings on average to sell a home. Some
Mhm.
longer, some shorter, but that is about the average. So uh, when we are looking at homes and putting your house on the market, you want to consider your marketing strategy, because marketing strategy is how are you going to get your property to the appropriate places to where buyers are going to find your home. And so there's a lot in marketing strategy. that many times homeowners don't think about. It really takes more than just putting it onto Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia or whatever you end up using. But yes, you got to have a plan in place. You got to know, if you're going offline, online, social media, how are you going to optimize it? How are you going to get the buyers to schedule an appointment, ask questions? And in this day and age, we talked about, how many things are virtual and it gets the attention of the buyers. And so even looking at designing a website just for your property is very, very suggested, because the more you can get your property marketed and in front of buyers, the more likely you're going to be able to sell your property at the value that you're looking at. And so when you are marketing, what are you looking at when you are putting your house on the market? Are you going to use Zillow? Are you going to use Realtor.com? Are you going to use Trulia? There's so many options, right, Brock?
Yeah, I mean, guys, there's so many resources out there. When you look at the social media, you look at the Zillow. Obviously, Zillow is a big indicator, but there's so many different social media sites for sale or in Facebook world. So you just need to make sure. We always say we got to get in front of more eyes. You got to have it in front of a lot of eyes so they can take a look at it.
Yeah, and something here too. If you go to exactdata.com, you can also target your buyers. When you're thinking about, who is the buyer that's going to buy my home? Is this a family? Is this a retiree? What are the demographics that you think are the buyers that are actually going to come live in your home? And you can also look at targeting who are you going to send flyers to, postcards to, and that sort of thing. So things to consider to get top dollar for your house. And Brock, marketing works, right?
It does. Unfortunately, it comes to an expense. So, when you're dealing with this, you do need to get it out. You need to make sure that all this marketing, the photography, the social media aspects, if you're really looking to sell your house, these are some places that you need to put it at. We work in different parts of the country. So in Charlotte here, we say a lot of things. We're working in LA, we're working in Chicago, we're working in New York. Okay. So if you're targeting those areas, it costs money to be able to do that. Now we have our own reasons why we do it. If you're going to look up any information, go look up migration charts, go to Zillow migration tables, Redfin migration tables. They tell you where people are moving from out of in the States, and we market those areas and we put some marketing dollars behind that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So put that in your budget. That if you want to reach, and it's all a numbers game, right, Brock? When you're looking at selling anything, it's about a numbers game. The more you get your product, your property in front of somebody, the more likely you're going to be able to sell it at the price that you desire and at the maximum price that it deserves. So absolutely don't chintz on the marketing is the recommendation there. So once you get it marketed to all the buyers and all of those things, the question you want to ask yourself, will you just let anybody in? Right?
Absolutely. This is the biggest thing that we see. How are you vetting your buyers?
Yeah. Very, very important questions to ask, right, Brock? Because we live in a world where there's so much access and things to consider. You want to ask them, vet your buyers. Have they talked to a lender? What about the home caught their attention? Do they even know your address? There's so many scammers out there. And so you just have to be very, very careful. Why are they moving? Can they answer that question? And will you be able to purchase the home today? That's an important one. Do you want to just let somebody in that's just a looky-loo that isn't really necessarily ready to purchase your home? I mean, because let's face it, it takes a lot of time to get your house ready to actually let somebody into the house. So you want to make sure that they're actually ready to buy today if they end up falling in love with your home today, right?
And the other thing too, we gotta be careful of, Zena, is, not only are people calling, but they're emailing you, they're texting you, they're putting you on Facebook group or like direct messaging. So there's many different, crazy things going on there. So just be cautious and be careful when you guys are, going through this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to encourage you to not only ask them if they've spoken to a lender, but don't be afraid to ask them if they can provide you proof of funds or pre-approval. please
Absolutely.
make sure they
Good
truly
point,
are
Zena.
able to purchase your home, because anybody can say it verbally, right, Brock?
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah, I
show me
can.
the proof.
Yeah, exactly.
Show me
Exactly.
the proof. So we just want to keep you safe. Now that you found your buyer, now what, Brock? Now what?
Now the good this is not my favorite all contracts. This is where we hire transaction coordinators to help us out. But obviously, when you guys are doing this yourself, you want to make sure that you have all the forms. So there's some attorney docs you can go to. You can Google some of this stuff for you to be able to get the appropriate forms that you need. Whether it's here in North Carolina, we have to have mineral and gas. You can have hurricane coverage. You can have flood insurance. You can have professional disclosures. You just really want to make sure that you have all the documents you're needing, the offer to purchase contract, the due diligence, all the earnest money. There's so many different things depending on what state you're in
Mhm.
across the country. So just really make sure that you have all your documents in order.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and then once you have an offer, this is where the fun begins as well, right? The negotiation. There's a lot
Absolutely.
there's a lot of terms and conditions to negotiate, so you want to make sure that you are absolutely understanding what you want, what's going to be best, and then also consider what the buyers are needing. And few things that can make negotiation a challenge. People sometimes can just not really understand what negotiation is. 57% fail to accurately guess how assertive the other person may be when you're negotiating. You don't really know, right? Until you're in that. So you want to make sure that you are assertive with what you know you want, and then also, figure out what the buyer is asking for. And sometimes people enter a negotiation unprepared, right?
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
need to know what are the most important things that you want out of this deal. Have a clear idea. And then many times negotiators only remember about 50% of what the counterpart said. So you may want to somehow write notes or keep tabs on what the buyer is asking, or what did they say, what's important to them, and get in there and just really polish up those negotiation skills. And again, there's a lot to negotiation, right, Brock? I mean, I know many times negotiations can take some time. And again, sometimes we can get frustrated because we want the deal to be locked in and done quickly. But sometimes negotiations can take some time because
Yeah.
we are examining and looking at many different aspects, right?
Well, Zena, the biggest thing that I want people to really, when you're in negotiation, please don't negotiate via text. Please don't negotiate via email. Okay. It is the biggest transaction, is the biggest asset that you have. And people just want to do it via, like, you're leaving room for error. You're leaving room for emotion. This is an emotional decision. A lot of times when we're also negotiating, understand if is it an institution, is it an iBuyer, is it an iSeller, understanding these type of things when you're going into it. And obviously, when you're selling your property, there are institutional buyers and they're different. They're just about dollars and cents. They're not going to bring any emotion into it. Timetables, all these things, but you got to also practice this type of stuff. We do it all the time with my coaching clients. We're constantly practicing it. Why? It's because we need to make sure that we're on point, and we want to be able to listen in. We want to lean in, listen in. We want to read the room before we can lead the room. And this also is even into negotiations. So you want to make sure that you're really looking at every opportunity, every angle, and everything is negotiable.
Yes, everything is negotiable. Thank you, Brock, for that tip of not negotiating via text or email, because you're
Oh,
right.
yeah, it
It's more
drives me
important to
crazy
have
when you see people doing that.
yes, yes. And you know what? Sometimes you can be like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Keep going. You can do this. You can do this. So now you have a contract. You're done with the negotiations. Now you have a contract. Brock, now what?
Yeah, this is really when the real fun begins. There's so many different underlining things. We actually counted. There's 187 things that take place from the start of a sale to the end of the sale, and you can see here anywhere from working with the attorneys, the title, the appraisal, the inspections, the surveys. making sure that radon, and then if depending on where you live, you got septic, you got easements, you got setbacks. And then when you do all that, you got the inspections that come into play, and then you got repair the negotiations. So guys, if there's anything, I would take a screenshot of this and write it down, so that way you are prepared when it comes time for this, because this is when literally statistically say most of the deals are lost during this time period. It's not during the agreement of the contract. It is what happens here. And we say many times that everybody is trying to sabotage the deal. I mean, every single person is poking holes at the deal, and you want to make sure that you are being proactive into this. And so this is a really important slide that I would tell you is like, really make sure you got your ducks in a row and make sure you got the resources available to help you with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Something too I want to really emphasize is that make sure you keep track of all the important dates that's on
Oh
that
yeah.
contract, right? Because you don't want to miss those dates. That contract has so many dates in there between the due diligence time, between the when the appraisal time is over. I mean, there's just so much in that contract when inspections have to be done. So you want to make sure you pay attention to all of that for your benefit in keeping to the contract. So now you just got to take it to the finish line, right? You've got the contract. Now you're working through it, and you want to take it to the finish line to closing day. And
Fun part.
yeah, yeah. So here's the thing, you guys. I know we gave you a lot of information, and these are great informations. But as you know, there's a lot more to it. Like if you want to learn how to save your money during the time that you are listing your home, sign up for our course here. We've got a 4-course series that goes into these things a little deeper than what we've presented today. And you can absolutely learn how you can potentially generate multiple offers. How important is that, Brock, to generate multiple offers?
Well, in this day and age, you really, there's a really strong opportunity for multiple offers. There's an opportunity for lease backs. There's an opportunity for you to move like everybody's like just trying to move the same exact day. Okay. I'm assuming when you sell your house, you might be buying another house. Like, how do you do that double close? Are you trying to get all your stuff that night, then move it again? So there's different things that we've learned that we've helped people with, to be able to give yourself time, to be able to give yourself some opportunities, to not have to over stress during a very stressful opportunity. And so we break this down. We break down some financials. We break down, seller net sheets. So that way you really know what you got and what you can put into your next home, or maybe paying down debt. We call building health wealth, all these different types of things that we can dive in a little bit deeper to help you in your next transaction.
Yeah, that's great for sure. And then, of course, we also will dive into the art of negotiation, because as you can tell, there's a lot of moving parts in negotiating so you can get top dollar for your money.
Mhm.
And then so important to know what forms to use and be
The
careful of as
forms.
well, right?
Yes.
So I encourage you all, if you are looking to sell your home without an agent, you absolutely can do it. And we have the home selling blueprint. Sign up for this 4-course series for just $97, and you will get your free for sale by owner. That's what FSBO means, FSBO, for sale by owner ebook. There's a lot of resources in this ebook as well. So let me get the order on here. Home selling blueprint-blueprint.com/order is where you want to go to sign up for this course. And it is going to be full of great information, Brock. I
Mhm.
mean, before I became a real estate agent, I wish I would have had this information myself. So it's going to be a really great informative course for sure. And Brock, can you tell us about the facts of homes sold in 2022?
Well, we know that, when we take a look at for sale by owners compared to an agent, and guys, this is not a sales pitch at all. It is just to tell you to look at the numbers. Okay. And just be careful when you're doing it. This is why we say don't text negotiations, don't email negotiations, making sure maybe you talk to another attorney. use us as a resource. Many times, even for sale by owners, people send me the offer. We just take a look at it to say like, hey, this is what we're thinking. This, be careful. Okay. This is the most expensive thing you are going to sell. So you really want to if you were to go to the doctor or have heart surgery, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't buy down or try to negotiate with the doctor, right? But we do it for our house. And so we urge you to be careful, because there is a lot of money that sometimes gets lost on here. And this is what we've seen in the recent history of how much money does get lost. So really, really be careful when you do this.
Absolutely. Yes, Brock, you are absolutely correct that you absolutely want to pay attention to all of those details, and just know. And if you need any resources, we are here to absolutely help you. So you can get a hold of either one of us, and we'd love to be that resource as well. But I also do want to emphasize that we are not doing a sales pitch. We really truly are here wanting to help you. And full disclosure, and disclaimer, we are both licensed real estate sales agent in our state, but we are not acting as real estate agents for you today. We are simply presenting you with information that can help you, for those of you that are wanting to sell your house not using an agent. So we just want to be that resource for you, and to give you that help. And that blueprint that we offer for $97. Again, that's not really a sales thing, but it did take time for us to build these courses for you and to have the resources at hand. And so we just want to give you that opportunity to use that so it can help you along the way. So any other last things you would like to add?
Guys, that blueprint really, and everything that we shared here, you really need to take it seriously. Like this is very important. I say this not to impress you by any means, it's just to press upon you. I've sold over 1,000 homes talking to strangers of for sale by owners and expireds. And I took everything and I was like, Zena, what do you think about this? And Zena and she had me her list, and we went back and forth, back and forth. This is everything that we've failed at. This is every problem that we've endured, every challenge. I mean, we're human beings, okay? And so we wanted to be able to share it with you, because we know this market is unique. This market is always changing. There's some really good opportunities, because you can save money selling it on your own. But we've also seen the other side of it, where lawsuits take place and situations happen and people lose out 30 days, 60 days trying to do it on their own. So we encourage you, study this, look this up, use us as a resource, and we definitely appreciate your time today, or whatever it is that you watched it. And we look forward to hopefully helping you sell your house on your own.
Absolutely. One more thing, Brock. If they text this number to get their freebie of resource, what should they text here?
Yeah. So on here, guys, there's the number 704-728-1008. Type in there FSBO, FSBO, and we will send you over some more websites that you can use, that we've used to help people sell their house. We have some other content, some open house data. We have some different things that we'll share with you. So 704-728-1008, text FSBO, and we'll get it over to you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Good luck with your endeavors, and we wish you the best in selling your home. All right. Talk to you later. See y'all.
Thanks, Dina. Bye, all.
Thanks, Brock.